Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Team Up for Hope's webinar, The Light at the End of the Tunnel. I am Karen Gonen, your moderator for this evening with my co-host, Tiffany Magna. Welcome to Team Up for Hope. We are a nonprofit organization that was created to help address the impact of mental illness, substance use, and suicide within our communities. We are doing this by raising funds and awareness for local nonprofit organizations at the forefront of this crisis. Team Up for Hope has partnered with NAMI Orange and NAMI Sussex. Both of these organizations assist with access to services and treatment, supports awareness and research, advocates for legislation and the rights of people with mental illness. In addition, they educate and provide support to the family members and loved ones who care for them. Team Up for Hope would like to thank you for joining us this evening for our webinar dealing with the light at the end of the tunnel. As more and more people are being vaccinated, and as businesses, restaurants, and entertainment, as well as sports venues open up, we're seeing the light at the end of the pandemic tunnel. Many people of all ages have experienced depression, anxiety, all resulting from the stay-at-home restrictions. Some have lost friends and loved ones to COVID-19. Some have lost jobs and are experiencing financial and food insecurity. Kids and teens have lost valuable educational and social interactions. And for people with mental health diagnoses, the loss of face-to-face services and supports have all had a major impact. These are steps that can be taken as a part of an overall positive approach to mental health. Our panel of experts will be discussing the importance of exercise, mindfulness, and nutrition as a part of a holistic approach to mental health. Our panelists are Chuck Markham, LPC, Sussex Therapy, Debra Chase, owner and coach at CrossFit Skunk, and Rosa Stycheck, yoga instructor. We will have a Q&A period following every speaker presentation. Tiffany, go right ahead.
Hi, thanks for coming. Our first speaker is Chuck Markham. He has a private practice in Vernon, New Jersey. He is a licensed counselor and coach, and he does a lot of counseling on drug and alcohol abuse, as well as anxiety. He has a focus as a hands-on approach to create healthy habits for his patients. Chuck?
Okay. All right, how's that? All right. Hi, I'm Chuck Markham, and I really appreciate being invited to speak tonight, and I'm looking forward to this. So I want to talk about coming out of the pandemic and into what's going to be next and what that's going to be like. And the answer to that is that it's going to be different for all of us because we all have different experiences of this. And the range of experiences that we've had is going to be everything from people that are experiencing trauma and all the things that Karen talked about, the mental health issues where people haven't been able to see people, people have lost their jobs, so on and so forth. Trauma is not about what's happened to you, it's how we have reacted to it. So I define trauma this way. There's two aspects to trauma. One is that something has happened that causes us to look at the world differently. In other words, if you look at how we looked at the world before something happens and we look at the world after it happens, we look at it in a different way. And the second aspect of trauma is that we're stuck. We really don't know how to move forward. So two people can experience the same thing and not experience that trauma. That trauma is what we should really be looking for in ourselves to see whether or not it's important that we seek out mental health, professional mental health help, be it a counselor or a psychologist or licensed clinical social worker. Because when we get stuck, we're really caught in that feedback loop of that doesn't get better. And to get through trauma is really, really important. Otherwise, it starts to color our whole life. But as we go through that, there's stages that we go through. In other words, when this whole thing first started, a lot of us were shocked. We really like, what is this happening? And then different things happened to us. Some people lost loved ones. Some of us got very, very sick. Some of us have family members that got very sick. So and how we respond to those things is different. Some people lost their businesses. As we come out of the pandemic and into an environment where we're not dealing with the shutdown, imagine being a business owner who lost your business, and then we're coming out into a non-shutdown situation, and you see everybody being successful, doing things, having their business, so on and so forth. And what you can experience, there's a real sense of, being victimized by whatever it is that you happen to be going through. The same thing could happen if you were sick and you see other people that weren't sick, or if you were sick and you're still having symptoms of being sick, and you see other people that don't have those ongoing symptoms. So all of these things are where we can be coming into this. And the most important thing that I can say is to accept where you are. Accept where you are. I call it radical self-acceptance. Even if you're in a position of hopelessness, accept that and get help. Just know that there is help and that it's important to reach out and ask for it. There's periods that we go through this where at some point we feel like we're very disorganized, and how are we going to do this? Especially if we've been in our home for the last year and a half, and all of a sudden we're going out into the world, it's going to feel very disorganized. I'm thinking about a family, say, that has children that have been home, and it took them a few months, but they finally got this thing nailed down. Okay, we're going to do this. This is how we're going to do things. What a lot of families experienced is that they actually liked some of the consequences of the shutdown. They realized that maybe it's not the healthiest thing for the kids to have a athletic activity 7 days a week. They enjoyed the simpler lifestyle. And as they come out of the pandemic, then there's going to be a lot of social pressure to go back to the old way of doing things. And maybe some of those things they don't want to go back to. So there's all of those things that are going to be part of the process. And it's going to be part of getting organized. And as it's called reorganization and recovery, as we come out of this and we begin to make sense of where we are and what we want to do. And I was going to speak some about mindfulness, but I understand that we're going to hear a lot about that. So I won't spend too much time on that. But what I will say is, in this period of disorganization and reorganization is a really important time to develop your mindfulness skills, or to practice your mindfulness skills, I should say, so that as you begin to decide what you're going to do as we come out, they're actual decisions. In other words, we have choices. If we don't want our kids to have athletic activity 7 days a week, we don't have to do that. If we discovered that our family is much happier and healthier if it's simpler. We can decide how we want to continue to do that. So that is a process that can happen by making intentional decisions. And the way that you do that is you really accept where you are. In other words, the world you may feel the world telling you, you should do this, and you may actually feel a different way, and think that through to see what it is that you want to do. There is absolutely no one size fits all in terms of how we're going to come out of this. And I've met people in the COVID that thrived in this environment, and they're afraid to say so because they don't want to offend somebody that maybe hasn't done well. And the point is that we're all in a different place. My focus was to be on the mental health aspect of it. And I would like the people that are here to be aware not only of yourself, but of people in your family that don't seem to be reorganizing themselves into the next stage. That is a sign of trauma. And when you see an event happen, like say there's a train accident or hurricane or something like that, and you see the counselors descending on the scene, that's not to give individual therapy to everybody that was there. What they're doing is they're assessing for trauma. And what they're doing is they're asking people, what are you going to do next? What's your plan? And people that have a plan are like, okay, keep moving. You're doing great. The people that don't have a plan, those are the people where we're experiencing trauma. And that's where the focus is, to be able to help that person begin to do what I was saying a second ago, which is to start to reorganize around what's happening now. And I'm just looking at the clock and seeing that I've talked for a while, so I'm going to stop now. But I hope that's been helpful, and I really appreciate the opportunity to do this. And I'm really looking forward to hearing about mindfulness and nutrition and exercise and all those things that make us feel great. And that's what I want to hear. Thank you so much.
Chuck, thank you so much. So we do have a question for you from the chat. What are some good ways to cope and move forward when accepting your situation? Can you elaborate on that, please?
Well, that would depend on the situation, wouldn't it? So, so the first thing that you would want to do is assess what is the situation that you are in. And so that's really the first step, is to figure out what the situation you're in, what are the obstacles that are being presented by the situation that you're in, and then where you want to get to from that point, and then come up with strategies to overcome those obstacles, some of which may involve reaching out for help, some of which may involve simple planning, and bringing the other people in your life into that process, and to realize that everybody around you, even in your own family, everybody's not going to be in the same place. You might have a family member who's in trauma, and you may have a family member who's just going forward. So you have to really assess where you are, understand what your obstacles are, and then develop strategies around that.
So Chuck, I have to add in my 2 cents. That's kind of what I'm known for. I'll do it to all of you, so be ready. I got to say, like, for me, the highlight of what you said that hit a soft spot for me, and hopefully others, is that when you say reorganize, like, you just gave me permission that if there are things that are completely different than they were before the pandemic that you didn't expect to like, it's okay to reorganize your whole life and not go back to normal, you know?
Absolutely. So
And that's huge.
So let me just speak to that. One phrase, and I know that I've seen it in the literature, so whoever put it in there, don't take offense, but one phrase that I've hated through this is the new normal, okay? Things are what they are. Things are what they are, and we adapt to them, and it is what it is right now. And as you said, if what we're going through we like, adapt what we've learned. That's what growing is adapting what we learn and move forward.
Are there any other questions for Chuck?
Thank you, Tiffany.
Chuck, anybody? Okay. Thank you so much, Chuck. Our next speaker is Debra Chase. Debra Chase lives in Warwick, but her studio is in Vernon. I just found out by the Dollar General on Route 94. And I'm actually, now that I have the address, I'm thinking, what excuse can I come up with to not go there? So Debra used to be a corporate girl, and she was stressed out and commuting and just decided it was time to change. So she got in shape. And in the process, I think she got rid of some stress, got transformed, and then became obsessed with her new passion. So she is a certified coach and owner of CrossFit Skunk. And maybe she can tell us all how to transform ourselves.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. Like Tiffany said, my name is Debra Chase, and I own and operate CrossFit Skunk in Vernon, New Jersey, right by the Dollar General. I am here to discuss with you the benefits of exercise and how it relates to improving mental health. It is no secret that exercise increases a sense of well-being. There have been multiple studies that prove that while exercising, our bodies release a feel-good hormone. This hormone is called endorphins, and it is a natural chemical that occurs in the brain that it's our body's natural painkiller and mood elevators. So obviously we want to increase this hormone as much as possible, and the only way to do that is through exercise. Through exercise is to increase your heart rate, and you don't have to be a fanatic to get into this. You can just do it. Go for a walk every day, get outside, get some sunshine, get some fresh air. There's a multitude of things that you can do to exercise. It doesn't have to be, CrossFit. It doesn't have to be crazy elite athlete type of things. It can just be taking your dog for a walk or playing ball in the yard with your children. The hormone only occurs during the training session, but it lasts for hours, several hours thereafter. And the more you do it, the more you have of it, and so on and so forth. So it builds on itself. Obviously, this past year has had its challenges. And in my opinion, the biggest challenge has been the decline in the mental health of our fellow Americans and pretty much everybody throughout the world. We were told to lock down. We were told not to come in close contact with our friends and our family, our extended family. We were told to stay 6 feet apart. We were told to wear masks to prevent the spread of this illness. Personally, I have not laid my eyes on my mother since December of 2019. She splits her time between New York and New Jersey and used to go back and forth several times a year. Last year, she stayed in South Carolina, and me or my siblings have not seen her since then. It has been particularly difficult on us because she's getting older. She's 81 this year, just turned 81 in March, at the end of March. We were supposed to have a big party for her back in March of last year, but that got canceled really quick. These challenges created coping mechanisms to combat or simply tolerate the sense of isolation and uncertainty. Some decided to get outside more. Some decided to take up a new hobby or a craft. Some even decided to set up a gym in their garage to not miss a workout. However, sadly, some dove into a state of depression. I personally know a handful of people who have admitted to drinking alcohol way more than they should have or used to. A lot of personal coping mechanisms can have a negative effect on one's mental health. Instead of helping it, it caused more depression and anxiety. One of the hardest hit industries during the pandemic was health and fitness. My gym certainly was no exception. Some of my members were scared and decided to cancel their memberships with me until we returned to normal. Some returned, many have not. This particularly perplexed me as a myriad of information and misinformation was being doled out by the CDC and the WHO and every other government agency out there stating who are compromised, those who are compromised are most likely not going to fare well if they contract COVID-19. But they shut down the very industry that will allow people to take control of their health. I would like to talk about the 5 benefits of exercise. First and foremost, and I think most importantly, is enhanced mood. In as quickly as 5 minutes, that's 5 minutes, into any physical activity, individuals can notice an enhancement in their mood. Now, given the environment that I provide to my members, one of the benefits, and one of the biggest benefits most people talk about is the community in which we create to exercise together. So even though some people are now, they're home and they're isolated and they're working out in their gyms, they're still isolated. They're missing their friends. They're missing that camaraderie and the support that they got from everybody else. Doing it on Zoom doesn't really, kind of do the same thing. It helped a little bit, but it didn't really do what it needed to do. So the sense of community was really something that I know my members were like chomping at the bit to get back to, just to be together, work out together, sweat together. And they all tell me that I'm going to kill them, and I haven't yet, and I don't know why, but I'm trying to, I guess, gently. Research shows that exercise can help alleviate mild to moderate long-term depression. And this is particularly important to those people who may have depression and any kind of mental illness in their family. So this, just a simple exercise program can help combat that and help, keep them off of medication or keep them kind of in a better frame of mind. Exercise reduces stress. I can attest to this myself. That is just simple. It's just that simple. Just think of it as a pressure cooker. If you're a pressure cooker dealing with stress of everyday life and then adding the stress of homeschooling, hybrid schooling, working from home, feeling isolated, maybe you're unemployed, maybe you've lost your business, maybe you're whatever, the list goes on. But one thing for sure is that if you get regular exercise, it does help release that stress and increase relaxation. Even better, it is shown that regular exercise reduces symptoms of anxiety. Exercise gives you a boost of energy. Most people who sit around and don't move very much tend to have low energy levels. Getting up and moving really helps increase your energy. Regular physical activity improves your overall health by decreasing your blood pressure and heart rate, controls weight, strengthens muscles, increases bone density, and most importantly, I'm going to say that 3 times, most importantly, enhances immunity. That is something that people tend to forget. The better you work your body, the better you feed your body, the better your whole overall health is going to be, mental or physical. Lastly, and certainly not least, exercise helps improve sleep so you feel more rested. You don't have to be a fitness fanatic to enjoy the benefits of exercise. Research shows that even the modest amounts of exercise can make a difference. In fact, you can meaningfully benefit from 30 minutes of exercise, moderate activity every day, 5 days a week. A quick walk, a swim, or a quick workout at a gym can go a long way to improving your overall well-being. It is a good idea to mix up your routine and to keep it interesting. Try a combination of aerobic exercise, strength building, and flexibility exercises. CrossFit is an amazing way to get all that in 1 hour. You can hang out with your friends or make new ones and set the pace for the rest of your day or end your day on a good note. People who exercise regularly tend to do so because it gives them an enormous sense of well-being. They feel more energetic throughout the day, sleep better at night, have sharper memories, and feel more relaxed and positive about themselves and their lives. And it is also a powerful medicine for many common mental health challenges. Regular exercise can have a profound impact, positive impact on multiple mental health issues, obviously including, like I said, depression, anxiety, and even ADHD. It also relieves stress, improves memory, and helps you sleep better, which we've said a bunch of times. Like I said, you don't have to be a fitness fanatic to reap the benefits. Research indicates all of it can help, even just 5 minutes a day. Get outside. And one of the things that Chuck touched on before is accepting where you are. In my industry, and especially in CrossFit, CrossFit people think, oh, I can't do that. It's too intense. It's this, it's that. I have to get in shape before I can go to CrossFit. What we do in our four walls is we make sure that everybody feels comfortable from the minute they walk through the door. Everything we do is scalable. Everything we can tailor any workout to an injury, an inability, or whatever it might be. But the challenge that I have is people accepting where they are physically. Chuck has an equal challenge of having people accept where they are mentally. But if you accept where you are physically and take that first step, it's not going to happen overnight. You didn't gain 20 pounds overnight. You're not going to lose 20 pounds overnight, nor should you. So with that said, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I'm here to help you find that light and be the best version of you. And we are all in this together, and hopefully we'll all come out of this in a better, more healthy place. So thank you for having me. It was really fun.
Wow, Debra, you got some great statistics there. Definitely a motivator.
Yeah.
I wish you were a little bit closer, but maybe I can break out of my comfort zone if my friend Karen might want to meet me.
Children come to my gym.
That's right. I was actually going to ask you about that, Deb. What do you recommend as far as children coming out of the pandemic?
Well, like Chuck was saying, with the kids, like having, sports 7 days a week. I personally never did that to my kids because I felt it was so important for them to come home and just be home and do some things and do some activities. But children coming out of this pandemic, I have two children. I don't know if you saw one coming through the door before, but they're 11 and 13. A hobby. He's now become this little mechanic. He's got all his tools and everything. So he spends a lot of time doing that. My other little one is playing video games. So it's, the kids coming out of this pandemic, they just have to come together. They have to come together. They have to do things that are going to get them in each other's faces. They're going to be more social in their activities. I just feel like there's going to be a big push to have kids doing more, but it's going to be a fine line of what's too much to push them because they've been out of it for so long, and what's going to be. It just really depends on the right balance. Everybody has to find the right balance for kids because they've been through a lot this year for sure.
Right. So that's actually, I see that Chuck has a question for you. Go ahead, Chuck.
Of course.
Yeah.
Hi, Chuck.
First of all, I think you're awesome. I really appreciate what you had to say.
Thank you.
If I have a client that could really benefit from working with you, but they're shy or something like that, they don't, like you said, they don't feel like they're good enough, or what would I say to them to help ease them to see you, and how could I let them, what could I say for them? What should they expect when they come to you that might make them feel better?
Well, I like to think that I am a warm person and I make people feel welcome. However, people sometimes are not comfortable in a group environment. They don't want to work out with a bunch of guys. They don't want to work out in front of other people. They're uncomfortable, they're overweight, whatever their issues might be. So we offer one-on-one personal training as well. So that would just be me and them in a room that's completely just theirs.
So I would say that you're flexible in terms of how you work in groups, not groups.
Oh, totally. It's not a cookie cutter. You can't, everybody's an individual. You can't design a one workout. It's not one size fits all. And I mean, I have people in almost every single class that come to me that are unable to do the workout that's on the board. And, being able to, some people, their goal is to do a pull-up, but they're nowhere near doing that right now. So I have to give them progressive movements in order to do that pull-up one day. So
even I could do a pull-up.
100%. It doesn't matter your age, you can gain muscle and strength.
Okay.
92. I've seen a 92-year-old guy do things like do a deadlift like you would never imagine.
Okay, now you got me saying, okay, I can do this then. All right, thank you.
I promise. Everybody can do it. Everybody should do it.
Thank you, Deborah. You're very inspirational, to say.
Thank you. Thank you.
Does anybody else have a question for Deborah? Okay. So our next speaker we have is Rosa. And Rosa Stycheck, cut me off if I say it wrong, Rosa. Rosa is a yoga girl. She started out doing yoga in a local gym, and then she went to Happy Buddha in Goshen. And now she's out of state, but she's a local yoga in her heart. And she now does Zoom classes, which anybody can join in. And she kind of tries to tie breathing to movement, to let go of fear and stress through yoga. I personally have done yoga a couple times, like 2. And I'm always amazed when I watch people do yoga, like how flexible other people are. If you haven't done it before, like when I did it, I heard snap, crackle, pop and was thinking, wow, so this stuff really can move in these weird positions. I did try it a couple times. I would recommend you trying it. Where is Rosa? I don't see her face.
Oh, I'm over here. I don't know. I'm probably mixed in with the other panelists.
Rosa, can we join in a Zoom class with you from our house, even though you're in Connecticut?
So I don't have a current regular schedule, but I have private clients that I see. Throughout the pandemic, I was basically doing like one-on-ones, and I had big group classes that I posted on my Facebook. So I think with reopening, I sort of eased back because I wanted to give small businesses like Debra's the opportunity to take those clients, and just
get them ready for you.
No, I want people to go back to normal, in quotation marks. No, but I used to have a yoga studio in Pine Bush. I knew that summers are really slow for me because people don't want to be inside working out. So I try to offer inside or outdoor classes, but just going off of my experience with that, the last year has really hurt small business owners, especially small yoga studios. So people like me who, I'm an accountant, I have a 9-to-5 job. I don't need that business as dearly as, somebody who needs to pay rent. And I want people to go back to that sort of state of being within a community. So I'm easing away from doing that, but we'll still offer private lessons and group lessons at request.
Namaste.
Oh, okay. So that being said, I'm going to give you guys some mindfulness techniques to sort of cope with the anxiety, the trauma, just the general fear of what's going on. As Tiffany said, my approach to yoga is breath and body based. And I think that there's kind of this almost negative connotation with yoga teachers. That A, you have to be flexible, B, you have to know what chakras are. And forgive me for saying this, I never mention the word chakra in any of my classes. You will never hear any of that, pseudoscience stuff in my classes. I just don't think it's relatable. And I think in this time where people are now transitioning from being in a very vulnerable emotional state where we haven't had a consistent idea of what's going on, we are facing trauma. Some of us don't know it. Some of it's repressed. Some of it, we're like, oh my gosh, this is actually trauma. So I'm going to give you methods to sort of bring yourself back to the present moment. Yoga is obviously great, but you don't have to be, bendy, flexible, put your legs behind your head or stand on your head or do a split. That's not the goal of it. That's not why this was developed. The goal of this is to bring you back to the present moment. So right now we've been living in this state of, once again, fear and vulnerability. And we're thinking about, oh my God, like the last year has really jacked me up, or like, oh, like this person's not wearing a mask and I'm wearing a mask, and are they vaccinated? Are you vaccinated? It's all fear and it's terrifying. And to be perfectly honest, just so that, you understand that I am not perfect. I'm not walking around like namaste to every single person. I use these techniques to cope with my everyday anxiety, especially when I'm at work. I find myself getting, I feel my heart racing and my thoughts will be running at 1,000,000 miles a minute. And then I just come back to the breath. So one thing I want you to think about is if you're, starting to experience anxiety, and I think some people, are even ashamed to admit that. So if you start to experience anxiety, take your hands and you just put them right on your hips. And what I do is I tend to just kind of like move my hands back and forth like this. So I'm like, okay, I'm here. I'm in this shell. I'm breathing. And okay, here I am. So then what I'll start to do from there is I'll start to sit up straight and I'll start to place my feet down on the ground. And I'll be like, okay, my feet are touching the ground. Then I'll start to pay attention to my spine. And I'll close my eyes and I'll draw a line from the base of my pelvis all the way up to the crown of my head. And I'll start to lift my chin up and I'll go, okay, all right, there's a spine. It's there, it's aligned. And then I start thinking about my face. A lot of people don't realize how much tension and trauma we carry in our faces, because you'll start to like squint like this, especially if you guys have all been doing Zoom-based therapy sessions or CrossFit sessions or, kid sessions. You probably might even notice your kids like just constantly in a stank face state of mind. So relax the face, relax the jaw. I like to tell people to like loosen up their jaw, take their tongue away from the roof of their mouth, and make sure, think of Botox forehead. Okay. Not that I'm pushing Botox on anybody. I think it's, to each his own, but think of a nice smooth forehead, no lines, no stress. And then think of the shoulders. So then you're going to take the shoulders, bring them down and away from the ears. Okay, cool. So then by checking in with all of these different points, all of these different physical points, you're like, okay, all right, I'm here. It's not that bad. I'm in the present moment. I can accept this. And I can start to move forward. So that's like the biggest technique, is just really bringing that physical awareness, which you can also you can get from a basic exercise practice. You can get from basic yoga movements. You can get that, just from even walking outside barefoot in the grass. The benefit of doing so is it's completely grounding, because it's a literal physical connection between your body and the earth. So I like to tell people to do that as well. If they're, worried about what's going to come, at the light of the end of this tunnel, so to speak, I tell them, go outside, pay attention to your surroundings, listen to the birds, stop staring at a screen, get some dirt in between your toes, or maybe a worm, if you were like me earlier, and just be with yourself in that moment, sit with yourself in that moment, instead of worrying about what you should or could or would change, because there's only, a small list of things that you actually can. So yeah, it's all physical. So with that being said, I'm going to take you guys through, if you're interested, you don't have to participate. I'm not going to be offended. I'm going to take you through a simple guided meditation where we focus on different points of your body. And I want you to use this. Typically I have people seated, on the floor. I want you to use this, just as a general technique, maybe to help you fall asleep. Maybe when you do feel that rush of high anxiety coming on and you don't know, how else to combat it. So if you're going to participate, you can turn off your camera. I can't see the participants, but if you want to turn off your camera, I promise I won't look at you. So if you're seated in a chair, what I'm going to have you guys to take your hands, and you're going to just kind of move your butt cheeks off to the side so that your sit bones are flat in your chair. Okay. And then if your feet touch the ground, even if it's just your toes, put your toes in the ground. And start to close your eyes. And start to think of that long spine. So think of drawing a line from the base of your pelvis all the way up to the crown of your head. Roll the shoulders up to the ears. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, roll the shoulders down. Place your hands down on the tops of your hips. Press down into your hips. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, release that press, and turn your palms up as a symbol of accepting this present moment willingly. Let's take a few deep breaths in together. So inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Don't worry about if people can hear you breathing. This is a natural process. So let's inhale and then exhale. And let's do that 2 more times. And I want you to think of something that you need to let go of, whether it's fear, whether it's the stress of returning to normalcy, whether it's getting the kids to, online learning or to school or anything, work. Just take it in and then let it go. 2 more times just like that. Inhale, hold it in. And then let's exhale, let it go. Relax the shoulders. Now we're going to bring our awareness to our feet. And what I want you to do is if you can make a fist with your feet, I want you to curl your toes and really tense up your feet as much as you can. Really bring all of your attention, all the tension into your feet. Take a deep breath in. And then exhale, relax your feet. Let's do that. Let's bring our attention to our legs. Really tense up your calf muscles. Inhale. Exhale, relax your calf muscles. Now bring your attention back to your thighs. Really tense them up like you're a football player. Take a deep breath in. And then exhale, relax them. And bring your awareness to your core. Really brace your core like you're going to take a punch in the gut. Inhale. Exhale, relax your core. Now bring your attention to your hands. You're going to make a fist with your hands. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, relax your hands. Bring your attention to your biceps, your shoulders, your upper spine. Tense everything up. Inhale. And then exhale, relax it. This time, bring your attention to your face. Really tense up your face like you've just eaten something sour. Inhale. Exhale, relax your face. Now bring your left hand over your heart and then your right hand over your belly. Start to see if you can maybe catch the beating of your heart. Start to see if you can feel the rise and fall of your belly as you inhale and exhale. Start to find a little bit of gratitude for that beating heart, the breath that comes in and out of your lungs. Find gratitude for the ability that you've been able to make it through the past year. And that if you've made it through the past year, you can make it through anything else, no matter how daunting or anxiety-inducing it might be. And just breathe into that space. Breathe into the ability to do that. Accept where you are right now in this present moment. And just know that it'll be okay. Take one more big breath in. And then exhale, release your hands opened towards the sky, back to the tops of your thighs. Check in one more time. Make sure your face is relaxed. Make sure your shoulders are relaxed. We'll take 3 more inhales and exhales together. Take a big breath in. Exhale, let it go through the mouth. Big breath in. Exhale, let it go through the mouth. And And then slowly flutter your eyes open or let them be closed for a moment. Taking a few more conscious inhales and exhales. And you can start to flutter them open if you didn't initially. And that is the biggest technique you can use to really just, once again, bring yourself back to the present moment. And even if you don't have time to do a sort of 5-minute meditation like that, where you're focusing on those different parts of your body, even just taking a big inhale and a big exhale, sighing it out has been scientifically proven to reduce anxiety in that moment. And that's my whole spiel. Thank you guys so much.
Wow, I needed like a little nap now.
Yeah.
Does anybody have a question for Rosa?
Rosa, that was fabulous. So my question for you is actually, again, about, for instance, people like Tiffany and I, we are both in the real estate industry. And being that the market is absolutely insane, we deal with stress on like a regular basis. I do have to say that the technique that you just showed us really calmed me down after an insane day. So thank you so much. Are there little tidbits that you can give us that would calm us down on a,
Seconds of it
when we don't have 5 minutes to do this, something quick that we could do possibly?
So if you're in the car between showings, well, first of all, I mean, maybe I should be pushing myself, but there are so many different mindfulness apps that are out there. I would recommend downloading one of them, especially for you guys, because you're constantly on the road. And in between taking calls, if you're just driving, I would download one of those apps, put on a 5-minute meditation, and just kind of, don't close your eyes while you're driving, but just listen to what they're saying. And even driving in itself can be meditative. So if you don't do that, I would take stock of your surroundings. So if you're in the car, loosen up your shoulders, look outside, be like, oh, you know, like, look, there's another deer on the road, but it's so cute. Or, you know, it's a beautiful day. Like, take stock of what's going on around you so you can, you know, take the moment to express gratitude for it. Because there's actually science behind, and I should have pushed this a little bit more, but there is science behind the act of finding gratitude in little moments. So, you know, even if it's a hectic day and one of your clients is giving you, you know, hell, you could say, you know, I'm really thankful for this pain in the ass. Like, oh, wow, that's so great. Because then your perspective on them is completely going to shift, as opposed to being like, oh, Bob again, calling me, asking me if, you know, the closing's been pushed back. So take stock. If you're faced in, you know, if you're in a situation and it's really chaotic, just pause, like, take a deep breath, take it in, take it out, or let it out, and then, you know, revisit the situation as well. So yeah, Chuck, back to you, Chuck.
So much. I appreciate that. I'd like to hear your perspective on how mindfulness exercises impact your thinking the rest of the time when you're not doing mindfulness exercises.
So I find my mindfulness is just in, I would say it's in many different forms, you know, and Debra kind of talked about this as well. My mindfulness isn't always yoga. Sometimes it is throwing a dumbbell around. But if I find that I don't do these things, I'm more likely to have anxiety in, you know, throughout my workday, you know, just throughout my personal interactions, because in that moment, you're really training your mind to just focus on the now. Because if you're doing a downward dog, if you're, you know, doing hang cleans in CrossFit or something like that, your focus is just on moving and it's on nothing else. So the way that that kind of transfers to, you know, other parts of your day is that you're not gonna think about, you're gonna think about what's happening right then and there. You're not gonna think about what's gonna happen. You know, and that's it. I find that it really just grounds me, and it does bring me back to the moment, because it just rewires my thinking to be present, as opposed to oh my gosh, I have ABC. Oh, like, oh no, I've got this, So yeah, that's kind of my take on it. I hope that sort of answers your question.
Thank you.
So I think that the one thing that you guys all have in common, besides your do-gooders that you even came on and shared with us, your inside scoop of your lives, you all are very passionate about your jobs. And that's pretty awesome, because there's a lot of people in this world who, could never speak about what they do all day long for a living because they're miserable. Like, each of you does something totally different, but you all definitely are passionate about your jobs, and it comes out in listening to you speak. And it's really a pleasure to listen to you guys. So thank you for opening up to all of us. Hopefully everybody that watches this gets some kind of personal tidbit from each and every one of you. So thank you guys all for taking the time and for sharing with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. Love the invite. Thank you.
Thanks a bunch.
So just so that everyone knows, we are going to have all of our speakers' information posted on slides and then later on the web as well. We hope that the information our panelists have shared tonight has given us all something to think about and do in order to have the light at the end of the tunnel shine on us all. We would like to thank our sponsors at this time. Without your support, we would not be able to support the cause the way that we do. This webinar will be posted online on our Facebook page and YouTube channel for reference. We will also be posting contact details for our speakers should you want to reach out to them directly. Thank you to all our panelists and sponsors. We thank you all for joining us and wish you a great evening and happy summer, everyone.
Thank you.
One more thing before we leave. If you guys aren't aware how to get to Team Up for Hope, you can go on facebook.com backsplash would be in a kitchen. What is it called?
Slash.
See, I called it splash. See? I'm in realtor mode. Backslash. Facebook.com /Team Up for Hope. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great evening, everyone. Stay safe.
Bye.